Hey gang, Redbeard here. Let's go create something cool. Hey gang, Redbeard here. Welcome to my studio. We're gonna do some fun stuff today. Today I'm gonna teach you how to get really good audio into samplers, and then how to loop those samplers so you can play multiple in a row. That way you can get an entire song into your room. Music is a really big important part to Rec Room. It adds so much more to the experience in your custom rooms. So today I'm gonna do a quick tutorial on how to do that. But first we're gonna jump out of Rec Room and go into a desktop PC, and then you'll be able to see how to cut up the music and prepare it before you bring it in. All right, let's go. All right, gang, Redbeard here. So here's how we do this. We're going to use a couple tools. One is called Audacity. It's a free audio editing tool. This track I was able to get from YouTube. I'm not going to tell you how to download those, but there's a lot of really good copyright-free music on YouTube, and I highly recommend going through those. Also note where you got that music from on YouTube. That way you can give credit to those creators. The next thing you're going to need is a tool called Soundpad. You can get this on Steam. It's like 10 bucks, I think, maybe $5. You launch Steam, and then you launch Soundpad, and then you can just close Steam, and then you'll have Soundpad here so you can bring your music in. While we're here, I'm going to make a new category called music tutorial, and so we'll get to Soundpad in a minute, but for now you're going to need that. So those two free apps will get you going. Next thing you're going to do is I have a notepad. This helps me keep track of how long these pieces are. The goal is to cut these down into 28-second clips. That way you can bring them into Soundpad and then also bring them into the samplers. So here's the song I've got. Let's listen to it. So it's kind of an 80s synthwave. That's what we're going to play with. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is cut this down. I know we need about 3 minutes, so around the 5-minute mark, I'm just going to select all of this all the way to the end. I'm dragging with my mouse. There we go. Then we're going to hit cut. We don't need that. Now we should be able to work a lot faster. So let's zoom in. Essentially what I'm looking for is a good spot for the music to fade out. You can see that by these low points. There it is. So I want it basically done there. So drag all this out. Delete. Again, okay. So music dies down and then it kind of trails off, and we'll just fade it out. So let's go to there. Then you can do effect fade out, and that'll give us a nice fade down. Now if you want your music to loop, don't worry about adding silence to this. We're actually going to control the gap between the end of the track and the beginning in Rec Room. So there we go, there's our whole track. We're looking at 3.5 minutes, 3 minutes, 8 seconds. That's pretty good. So now the next trick is to cut this up into clips. So I have this little notepad over here. These are 28 seconds. So essentially the first one's going to go from 0 to 0.28, and from 0.28 to 0.56, and so on. So here's a trick how to get there. Put your cursor down here on the bottom and put 2.8. And then, so that's the section that you're going to want. So Essentially what we're going to do is add a label, and you get that through Edit, Labels, Add Label, and I'm going to just hit Control V, and then that adds a label. I like to name these just so that 80s. That's the 60s. 80s. That way I can find them quite quickly when we export. So next thing you want to do is, so we're at 28, so you want to put 28 here. And then you can use the tab key to get over to the next one. And here you want to put 56. And then label it. Go to 80s. So you just repeat that all the way down. So we'll go 56 here. And then this one will be 1.24. 1.24. And then B. You can see it's extra long, so we don't really need that. What we can do is pull that down to the end of our track. B-O-7-8. Alright, so we've prepared the file. That's pretty easy to do. First thing you want, so the next thing you want to do is select this region, and then you go File, Export Selected Audio. We're going to put that in 80 synth. Call this 0180s. Save, let it happen. Do the next one. Export selected audio. Go to 80s. Alright, so that's all done. Next thing you want to do is go into Soundpad. Go to the category that we created earlier. Go find your music. The synth. So there's all our clips. Select all those, just drag them into here. Alright, pretty basic. What Soundpad does is when you're in Rec Room, when you play one of these, it'll play through your mic. And that's what will allow you to capture that into the sampler. Welcome back, everybody. So you just saw how to cut everything up in Audacity and then how to export everything, and you also learned about Soundpad. Those two pieces of software are what's going to get us the audio into Rec Room. So from here we're going to go over and do some cool circuitry. But for now I'm going to have you follow me. Blah, my buttons are wonky. Let's see. There we go. All right, let's get some light in here. Yeah, there we go. Hey, Jiju, how you been, man?
Good. How are you?
Good. You ready to do some cool audio stuff? Nice.
Sure.
All right. So let's find a clean place to work. This'll do. All right. First thing you need is your pen. Open palette. Show my gadgets. Then you need some samplers. So if you remember, we had 7 samplers on this. So what we need to do is get 7 of these things laid out. I like everything lined up on a grid, but it's up to you how you do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. That looks pretty good. Next thing you're going to want are some chips. So we're going to start with a variable chip, and we're going to put that up here. This is going to be the volume for these. We'll wire that up towards the end. But we're going to want that about there. Yeah, it looks good. Next thing you're going to want is my favorite now, the state machine. If you haven't learned about state machines, you'll learn a little bit about it here, but there's some great YouTube videos about how to use this. Now you're going to need a state for each one of these, so we're going to need 7. So we'll go create state and add state. Add state. Add state. That's 5, 6. Let's do one more. And we're going to rename this one. We're going to rename this pause. We'll get to that in a minute. There's our states. Let's clean up, keep our space nice and tidy. This will help us in the long run. One for each of these. And this is the pause. All right, that's pretty good for now. We'll clean that up. Okay. So essentially what you need to do is wire. Let me look at this other one I got. The green one. So you can wire the red one or the green one, it doesn't matter. I like the green one, it's in the middle. And you're going to wire it up to the red one, which is the play signal. You're going to do that for each one of these. There you go. So essentially what's going to happen is when the state machine passes into the first state, it's going to send a signal to the play. And then when it goes on to the next state, it'll send a signal to the next play. So essentially, it's just going down the line through each state, and then we'll loop it back to the first state. Now, if you remember, each one of these tracks are 28 seconds long. So if we configure this first one, and then value our minimum time in state, you put 28. And just go down the line and do that for each one. I'm going to change my camera here in a minute. It might be better for you to see. Now for the repeat, the pause, I'm going to put 10 in here. Essentially that's going to sit in silence for 10 seconds before it goes back to the beginning. And with that nice fade out in the last chip, it'll sound really, really good. All right, let's do my POV. There. All right. So with Oculus, you can pull up what's called a dashboard, and that'll give you a view of what's on your actual desktop computer. So I'm going to do that now, and then we'll be able to see Soundpad and the notepad that we have. We don't need the notepad for state machines, so we'll just use Soundpad. Okay. Now Rec Room's going to get a little feisty with me about keeping my view, about being in front of the view, so we're just going to ignore that for now and get right back to it. Okay. So in the real world, I'm looking forward and I can see all my samples. If I look to the right, I actually have a floating window right here, and that's got Soundpad on it, so I can see what I'm going to try to hit play on. So we pick our first track and we test it. Can you hear that, Juju? Nice. Sounds good, doesn't it? Okay. So we're going to hit record, wait for the countdown, and then we'll hit play. Then we'll just save that. So there was a bit of gap at the end, and that's because samplers are 30 seconds and we only have 28. But what that does is it gives us a little bit of wiggle room for hitting record at the right time, and then also it just plays through. So now we move on to the next one. Hit record. Done. Save. On to the next one. Okay, so now you have all your samples recorded in. Awesome. Easy. That's all we want. All right, so the next thing we're going to do, let me get rid of this overlay so Rec Room leaves me alone. Okay, cool. So now, just double check these, 28 seconds. So if you remember, the 7th one was short. It wasn't quite 28 seconds. This one was 21 seconds. So you can just leave it because we're going to have this delay at the end, this pause. But I'm going to actually put 21, maybe 21.1, just a tiny little buffer, pretty basic buffer. Okay, so now we need to turn the machine on. Volume, playback speed. So how do we do that? We need a math chip. Let's see what these are saying. So the cool thing about state chips is it's on when it's on it, and it's off when it's not. So we're in the pause state, and it's not going to loop back till I tell it to. Another way you can check it is you can wire to there and wait for that number to kick on, but you really don't need to do that. That'll just click to 1 and then go back to 0. And you can do that for each one of those. But we don't need to do that. So let's get the loop going. Essentially what you do is you take the spawn and you rewire it to the first state. And what you'll see is this, oh, there it goes, this line that repeats it over. So now we listen and make sure everything sounds good. This will play for 28 seconds. This is a good time to tidy your space. Pay attention, this will go to gray and this will go to white. There you go, when it goes to the next one. And then it'll do it again here. There it went. I like to clean these up, and the reason for that is if anybody ever comes and uses my circuitry or needs to edit the room I'm in, then they should be able to follow along and see what's happening. So far so good. So let's configure this chip. I'm going to put this at 10, that's full max volume. And then we can wire this one to the volume of each one, which is the blue pin. Ooh, it got loud. Okay, knock that down a little ways. There we go. See how you can hear it regardless of where you're at. Nice job, Juju. So for music in rooms, I use... There we go. Okay, so we're on the 6th one here. Let's wait till it goes to 7, and then we'll double check that the pause works, which it did, because we heard it start over. There you go. And it'll fade down. It's a fun song. There we go. Now we pause for 10 seconds. And if we wait here, we'll see it come out here. There we go. Bam. Really easy looping audio with the state machines. It's brilliant. Now you could add a previous state to one that has a button in between. That makes it so that state 1 doesn't start until someone hits a button. But for the most part, looping music in a room, this is all you need. Probably don't need the volume, but I like to have that sort of control. So there you go. That's it. I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. It's pretty straightforward, pretty easy to do. Again, if you need any help, reach out. Myself and a few other people on Discord are more than willing to help you. Thanks, Juju. You know how I like coffee. Alright, cool. So you learned how to do really good audio in Rec Room. We cut it up in Audacity, and then we use Soundpad to bring it into Rec Room. And then we wired it all up so they loop one after another, including a pause at the end. That's basically how to do it. It's pretty simple. There are some fallbacks, so you need to know. If a room has lag, you have a lot of things moving or a lot of people in it, then it can get out of sync. It can get just kind of jumpy and weird. There are other ways to do it, which I could do a tutorial on as well. It's very chip heavy, but it's not hard. It's pretty easy to do once you do it once or twice. So that's basically it. We got some really good music, and we got some really simple chips. What do you think, Juju?
It was amazing. I loved it.
Yeah, pretty easy to do. Oh, nice. Awesome, man. All right. You want to shut it down?
Sure thing.
Nice. All right, let's go play some games.
Yeah.
All right. Alright gang, thanks for joining us on this video. I sure had a good time. I hope you did. Be sure to hit the subscribe button, and then you'll be able to catch some more of my videos. In the meantime, just hang out and keep watching. Thanks. See you later.